It's pretty crazy to think that Clint Eastwood is 89 years old and he is still turning out winners just like Richard Jewell. What's up, guys, and welcome to Movie Importance, movie review of Richard Jewell, the newest film from director Clint Eastwood, and it stars Paul Walter Hauser, Sam Rockwell, Olivia Wilde, John Hamm, Nina Aranda, and Kathy Bates. So in 1996, we had the Atlanta Olympic Games. It was very famous for, Michael Johnson beating the world record. We also had, Muhammad Ali doing the lighting of the torch. Very, very famous. It unfortunately was also the site of the Atlanta Centennial Park bombing, which was a great travesty, kind of like the Boston Marathon. It was just not a good thing, as we know. A couple people died, a lot of people got hurt, but in the middle of all of it, we had Richard Jewell. And Richard Jewell was this, guy who was a security guard that was working for the Olympic Games at the time, and he saved a whole bunch of people because he was able to get people out of the way. He found the bag that the bomb carried, that Eric Rudolph planted, and he was considered a hero. He was all over the place with Tom Brokaw and stuff like that. In the process of everything, you have to look at him as a suspect because that's just the way things work. He's the first guy to respond to everything. In the other essence, he became the main suspect, and that's when his life turned to hell. It became a chaotic mess. It ruined him. He had developed, heart failure and stuff like that. But, in the process, he was cleared from being a suspect because they found Eric Rudolph, and it was such a disaster of epic proportions. It got, reported in the Atlantic Journal or whatever it's called, and it just became a mess. So, what do we have here? We have Clint Eastwood's take on that story. And I'm hit or miss with Clint Eastwood. I'm going to be absolutely honest. There's movies that I like of his. There's movies that I don't like. I like more of his modern era stuff than I do of his older stuff. It's just the way I am. And this movie is very much in line with like Mystic River, Solly, The Mule. He is a guy that is very proficient about getting a story told, but it's not the most expensive story. He works 8 hours a day. He's very, he's like in his 90s almost here now, and he's doing the story of Richard Jewell. And I'm gonna tell you what, this movie's awesome. It's fantastic. It's a well done, thriller. It's a well done story. It gives us new light about Richard Jewell and his life with his mom, who's played by Kathy Bates. And it's just a very sad story of a guy who tried to do his best to protect people, and not the most. He was like very straightforward. He's very by the book and by the numbers. And then he got dragged under the mud because the FBI and the media just, if they see it, if it bleeds, it leads. And it was very sad and depressing. And this movie just shows that in spades. And Paul Walter Hauser, who is playing Richard Jewell in this movie, is fantastic. He's the standout of this movie. He's a guy, like I said, Richard Jewell is very by the book, so he's doing everything in his power to cooperate, but he's getting himself in trouble, which is insane to think. And then he has become friends with a lawyer who is played by Sam Rockwell, who I couldn't find any information on the lawyer if it was a real guy or not. They had met in 1986 to kind of develop a relationship, but Richard Jewell hires this guy, this lawyer, Sam Rockwell's character, to basically represent him because he trusts this guy, and he does everything in his power to prove his innocence. And it's really another powerful performance by Sam Rockwell. And Sam Rockwell has become one of those actors that is so dependable in everything he does, and it just shows once again. This is just another great performance from him, and he really stands out as a guy just trying everything he can, but he is getting obstacles in his way because of Richard Jewell's past and how he reacts to everything. And then Kathy Bates plays the mom, and she's always fantastic. She's fantastic in this. She's very convincing as the mom, and she does everything in her power to protect her son. But she is such on a broken edge of the ledge that it's just really hard for her to deal with anything. And then we have John Hamm, who is the main FBI agent, and he is a little over the top. He's a little FBI-ish, but the FBI is the way they are. And John Hamm is John Hamm, so it's very typical of his like Mad Men character and so on and so forth. And then we got Olivia Wilde, who I think is not that great in this movie. She's the hawk, the character that is like very into trying to get the story to sell papers to be the strong-willed woman in the movie, and she just feels one note and like not really that important. I mean, she's important because she develops the story, but she's just like, I don't know, whatever. She's Olivia Wilde, she uses her attractiveness to get her story, and just doesn't really work for me. But in that essence, the story is also written by Billy Ray, who I've come to love as a writer because he's very good at developing characters, at developing, the story. He put a lot of work into the story, and now he has Clint Eastwood developing the story, which makes it even more of a fantastic thing to watch because Clint Eastwood, for a guy that is 90 years old, he is still one of the most prolific directors in the market. He does some really interesting material. He does some material that you just don't see coming out in any type of form. When I heard that he was doing this movie Richard Jewell, which is when I saw the trailer, I was like, really? Then I realized he did Sully. He's just a very interesting director, especially in his older age, that he's doing stuff like The Mule and Mystic River, and it's just a very interesting career that he's developed for himself. And I really appreciate that he comes out with films so quickly, and you just don't know he's making any movies. I mean, Richard Jewell, I had no idea he was making this movie because he's so very under the radar with what he does that it proves how good of a director he is. He's kind of like Martin Scorsese, but with a little less flair and pizzazz, I guess you could say. But yeah, just overall, this movie is a great thriller. It's a great look at a character, a real person who just went through hell, trying to clear his name for something he completely didn't do. And when the payoff happens, you're really happy for him, and you know where it's going to lead because if you read the story, you know all about it. But yeah, just overall, I definitely recommend this, especially if you're a Clint Eastwood fan, and especially if you like his later stuff. I think you'll really enjoy this. It's in similar vein of Sully and American Sniper. So, but there you go. That's my take on Richard Jewell. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Clint Eastwood as a director. What is your favorite movie of his? Are you looking forward to Richard Jewell? I'd be interested to know. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification button at the top to find out what's coming next, and of course, comment below on any video that you watch on my channel. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for checking out Movie Emporium. I really appreciate it. If you want to, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification button and the bell at the top. Find out what's coming next for Movie Emporium. Also, check out these 2 videos. They're amazing. I think they're awesome. I think you'll enjoy them too. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.